What if I told you Apple almost did the weirdest thing it's ever done to an iPhone, panicked the entire internet, and then quietly went, relax, you misunderstood us, because the latest iPhone 18 leaks, yeah, they start chaotic, get reassuring, then end with a $2,400 folding iPhone that looks like it ate an iPad and skipped leg day. Let's talk about it. So first, iPhone 18 Pro. Because for a hot minute, it looked like Apple completely lost the plot. Early leaks showed this bizarre design where the selfie camera was shoved into the top left corner of the display. No dynamic island, no symmetry, just vibes, and not good ones. The reaction online was universal disgust. Reddit was on fire. Twitter was doing that thing where everyone suddenly becomes an industrial designer. And honestly, I agreed. It looked like Apple accidentally copied a 2019 Android prototype and said, yeah, ship it. But plot twist, that leak was wrong, or more accurately, wildly misinterpreted. According to newer, way more credible leaks, Apple is not moving the selfie camera at all. It's staying centered. The dynamic island isn't dying. It's just going on a diet, about 35% slimmer, which, fun fact, makes this the first actual change to dynamic island since it launched back in 2022. Same concept, smaller footprint, less screen stolen from your TikToks. Honestly, that's the most Apple solution imaginable. So where did the whole top left camera nightmare come from? This is where it gets nerdy and kind of fascinating. A leaked Face ID component shows Apple splitting parts of the system. The main camera hardware stays where it is, but the flood illuminator, the thing Face ID uses to map your face, is moving under the display, positioned toward the top left. From a leaked parts diagram, it looks like a camera hole, but it's not. It's just Face ID doing undercover work. Classic supply chain telephone game. One person misreads a component, the internet spirals. But here's the bigger deal, and this is where Apple starts flexing quietly. The smaller dynamic island is just the appetizer. The main course is the display itself. The iPhone 18 Pro is rumored to be Apple's first phone with an LTPO Plus display. Think of it as LTPO, but caffeinated, more efficient, smoother refresh behavior, runs cooler, and this is the big one, way brighter. And when I say brighter, I don't mean marketing brighter. I mean Apple reportedly kicked a supplier out of the supply chain because they couldn't hit the brightness target brighter. That's insane. Current iPhones already push close to 3,000 nits outdoors. If this thing hits 3,500 or even 4,000 nits, that's the difference between squinting at your phone in sunlight and feeling like you're holding a tiny portable sun. According to leaks floating around MacRumors and supply chain analysts, Apple is setting a new brightness benchmark entirely. No official numbers yet, but the implications are wild. Design-wise, though, calm down, this is not a revolution. The iPhone 18 Pro reportedly looks very similar to the 17 Pro. Apple's sticking with aluminum, no titanium comeback tour, and they're smoothing out the two-tone look on the back so it blends more seamlessly. Subtle, very Apple. The phone is getting slightly thicker, but that's because Apple wants to cram in a bigger battery. And honestly, I'll take a millimeter of thickness for extra battery life every single time. There is one small but interesting regression. The camera control button. You know that fancy touch and swipe camera button Apple added? Yeah, most people ignored it, including me. Apple noticed. So they're simplifying it. No more swipe gestures. No touch sensitivity. Just pressure and click. Partly because nobody used the other stuff, partly because it's cheaper to make. Rare Apple backtrack, but also completely logical. Under the hood, you're getting the A20 chip. Faster, more efficient, more secure. Apple will do the usual fastest chip ever victory lap, and they'll probably be right. But let's be real, the Pro story this year is refinement, not reinvention. And then we get to the real madness. The iPhone Fold, or iPhone Ultra, or whatever Apple decides to name the most expensive phone you've ever seen. For months, Leaks described it like two iPhone Airs glued together with a hinge. Tall, narrow, very Galaxy Fold coded. But a new hands-on leak shows something completely different. The iPhone Fold is shorter, wider, chunkier, and at first glance, kind of awkward, until you realize why. Unfolded, this thing is basically a 4:3 display, an iPad aspect ratio, which suddenly makes everything make sense. Videos fill the screen better. Multitasking feels natural. Quinn Nelson pointed this out recently. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Combine that with iPadOS style windowing features possibly coming over. You're basically carrying a tiny folding iPad in your pocket. That's the vision. And the display itself, supplied by Samsung. Yes, that's Samsung. At CES, Samsung conveniently showed off a foldable panel with an almost invisible crease, zoom in, and yeah, you can still see it, but barely. And Apple isn't stopping there. They're reportedly using a proprietary liquid metal hinge to absorb even more of the crease. The entire device is built around the display. Everything else is secondary, which explains why it doesn't really look like an iPhone. It's premium, glass, titanium, all the good stuff, but it's chubby, a little awkward. And the camera situation, only two rear cameras, wide and ultra wide, both 48 megapixels, no telephoto, on a phone that costs more than a MacBook Pro. That's a choice. And now the price. Originally rumored at $1,800, then $2,000, now $2,399. And honestly, that might still be low. Samsung starts at $2,000. Google's foldable is $1,800. Apple does not enter markets at parity. They enter at the top, kick the door in, and dare you to complain. Vision Pro is the perfect example, $3,500. Technically incredible, commercially, yeah. Apple isn't making the Fold to sell millions. They're making it to flex. Folding phones are still under 1% of global market share. This is Apple saying, we think we can do it better. And we're willing to charge absurd money to prove it. Will it work? I don't know. I'm still skeptical of foldables as a category. But Apple finally jumping in, that's huge. And whether this thing flops or redefines the market, it's going to be fascinating to watch. So yeah, iPhone 18 Pro, smarter, brighter, more refined. iPhone Fold, expensive, weird, ambitious, and unapologetically Apple. And honestly, I am here for the chaos. If you enjoyed this, drop a like, subscribe for more as these leaks heat up, and let me know, would you ever pay $2,400 for a folding iPhone? Or is that officially where Apple lost you? Catch you in the next one. Peace out.